All right, you guys, it is Saturday, next morning, day after Dead's. Egg on my countertop. But it is the day after Dead's for our primary / secondary bench. I never know. I kind of flip-flop back and forth between like Monday's set of 4 being considered primary and this being considered primary or secondary. It's a single, it's tempo. I think it gets not actually heavy, but maybe moderately heavy today. I'm not sure. I have to take a look, to be honest. But we are feeling A-okay after those Deads yesterday. Maybe just a little soreness in the lower back. I mean, a lot of that stuff is no fluff, and the squat bar is like we said, no joke with that slightly lower torso angle and just super raw position. We feel like, oh, let's see, actually. Maybe you can, if I just lower this a little bit. Yeah, look at them eggs. Real nice. I was thinking maybe on an off day, since I did such a poor job of showing you guys what a real day of eating is like last time I did this. I'm out of bagels. The world is over. I don't know what to do. Day's ruined. Almost unsalvageable. Look at this measly plate of solo eggs without any bagel or carbs on it. That is gross. Like I was saying, we did such a poor job of showing you guys like an actual day of eating when we were down in Texas with Sawyer and Bibu and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was a whole different thing. But now that we're really in routine and eating the same thing every day, and it's super simple, maybe on an off day we'll do like a legit full day of eating thing, which would be sweet. But I don't want to preface the session too much. We're going to go in. It's pumpy. It's fun. I get to do some rows, some pseudo landmine press. I get to finish with like the heaviest triceps of the week, which I've just been doing push downs with like the added weight. Well, I'll show you guys, but it's a fun, pumpy session where things aren't actually hard. It's just bench. No squat, no deadlift, no crazy things going on. Fun pump.
And we kick things off with just the bar. Like always, I don't really do too much in the way of warming up for bench. Maybe some banded dislocations and then like some rows with a band just to get the lat firing. Well, I guess not firing, it's going to fire regardless, but get a solid neurological connection with the lat. Before I move to just the bar here and do this like guillotine style press thing-ish, where I'm taking a bunch of air into my sternum and then just letting that bar like drop gradually towards my neck. I have a ton of asymmetrical engagement in my pecs. No news to me, no news to any powerlifter. It is nice to take myself and my pecs to a more extreme position than I'm going to be in and let my pecs relax there before moving into some JM press and warming up the tendons. And then we get to our 1 red. And we're going to kind of cruise through these lighter warm-ups here. And I wish we were not on this like rogue comp bench thing. It's not a fat pad. I mean, I guess it is a fat pad, but when you hear like a Donnie Thompson fat pad, right, the thing that they call cheating, it's about the width of the pad, right, that it takes up more of your back, more of your shoulder to shoulder space, and it's actually higher than anything would be in comp. People do compete on this, but if you're not going to compete on this, I don't recommend you train on it because it is just better, and you'll be shocked when you go into comp. I wish I could take that 1 to 2 red jump. I'm just not there mentally yet. I'm sure I could do it physically now that we're pressing like 430-ish, 440-ish, but not there. Last warm-up at 309 and a half. 309, interesting. Oh, it's because the bar is 45 pounds and I have that quarter kilo clip. But move just fine. I don't know what it is for you. It might just be me. But that last sip of water before I like go back on the bench is massive for me. I have no idea why. I actually haven't seen the top set here. We have our top set tempo bench 343. It's like it's supposed to be a 3 or 4 count on the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. Counts are not seconds. And not so good on the way up, to be honest. Felt a little bit better on the way up in the moment. But you know what? That's A-okay. We'll talk about that later, about why that may be the case. We move on to our first back down set here with like 276. I do not time the rest between the top set and this, but after this back down, I start timing these rests because they're super light and they're really, it's just a ton of volume. And I've been making them more difficult for myself over the past, whatever, maybe 12 to 16 weeks, maybe 16 to 20 weeks by just timing myself and really taking these rest times down. I believe today we did like a minute and it came to bite me, man, by this like 3rd set with this weight. I actually missed. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, wow, it doesn't matter how light it feels in your hands. It doesn't matter at all. you just hit like this wall where you cannot press anymore, even with something as light as 254. But making these back downs lighter across the board, squat, bench, and deadlift, since I did break that rib and whatever, deal with all that damage, has worked wonders for me. I have gained so much out of taking things down and not expressing strength as much on the back downs as I am just really nailing tech and feeling really good across the board. Maybe by my week 4 as a stronger presser, bencher, puller, squatter now, I end up using my week 1 intensity when I was weaker. So it's great. And on this set, you'll see what I'm talking about here. I think it won't look like a fail, but let's see. Those elbows do not lock. That would have hit me in the face in a comp. That would not have been whites at least a good comp, maybe a local meet thing. We move on to some Viking press here. I only wanted to try it because they actually had it, and I was like, wow, a Viking press. But it's supposed to be a kneeling landmine press. I just did that for the last 20 weeks. Thought I could get somewhat similar stimulus here, and I was wrong. You guys can see it says 3 plates by 10, not 3 by 10 or 4 by 10 like it's supposed to be. And that's because right after this, I moved away from this. This is way too, I don't get the anti-rotational core strength or core engagement out of it that I do on a kneeling landmine press, which is the real meat and potatoes of it for powerlifters outside of just whatever. The last thing I need is more anterior delt engagement. But this is way too high of a press angle as well. I feel like my teres being weird. It's just nothing that I'm looking to do, to be honest. Won't benefit my press the same way that a landmine would. So this will be our last week on this. We move to like a pseudo cable for the rest that I did not film, I just realized, into our little chest supported row here. I'm so glad to be back on this hammer strength unilateral row. It is so nice. But we keep it light. At the gym that I had to prep out of for my last meet, they got a row maybe 4 or 5 weeks out. And I was doing whatever I could until then. But point is, I was making really lightweight feel difficult by shortening those rest periods and just really focusing on the eccentric. So we keep things light here because I go into Monday with so much less just back fatigue and such better like isolation and engagement out of it. Not everything has to be thrown around heavy weight. That feels really good. Into our last little tricep movement here that, I guess not little tricep movement, it is our heaviest tricep movement of the week, like of the meso period. I hit them 3 or 4 times a week. If you guys know anything about me from Instagram or pressing, my bench went through the roof when I stopped trying to play the I'm poorly leveraged, soft touch, really wide grip game. And when I did bring those hands in to pretty much finger on the smooth or one finger off of the smooth, my bench went up 70 pounds just trying to get jacked and, whatever, build some big triceps. This is the last set here. You guys see I did not make it all the way through that 4x10 with that 45 on there, which I do take it off between sets so it doesn't ruin the cable, but we finish up.
All right, man, we have finished up our little Pumpy Saturday tempo bench session. I think I did a very poor job of filming in there. I will see when I actually take a look at these clips when I get home. But I was just talking with, actually, I guess a girl that I just met. We've followed each other on Instagram for a little bit, but just how awkward it is to film in awkward it is to film in a new gym in general. I'm not good at filming, period. But when it's you go in on a Saturday morning and it's kind of packed, and Gen Poppy fitness people are looking at you sideways, you're like, wow, I am such a douche carrying this thing around. But I tried. Overall, solid session, man. Didn't feel good, didn't feel bad, didn't feel super strong on the press. And I realized yesterday while I was editing the deadlift video that when Kevin called, I totally lost track of the whole point of this series, which is the fact that we are gunning towards this 956, 957-ish world record on the dead. And of course, barring being healthy and being able to stay pushing and things like that, we're looking to take a shot at this record in December-ish, January-ish. No meat 100% in mind, a couple that might work. But point is, nutritionally, we're staying down, at a pretty low body weight, below 225. After last night, I'm probably not 225, but up until last night, I've been staying between 220 and 225 morning weight, which is great, right? Because I want to stay within very easy, almost spitting distance, cutting-wise, of the 220, or I know for a fact if I have to make a big cut, that is a pipe dream of getting that world record with the fact that it's already, somewhat a reach. But because of that, nutrition is not geared towards the subtotal. Normally, before a bench, they eat, get huge, big bloat, you know, feel great, and super explosive, which is not the case right now. We're just trying to maintain a baseline here. With that squat cue that we got last week, that push through the arches, the squat, we might go up as we're going down in body weight, which is almost never the case, but I figured out something super cool about the squat, that for the first time in my life, it seems to make sense how people like actually have a predictable squat pattern and really feel good under the bar. So point is, nutrition is geared not towards the subtotal and is geared towards keeping us small and lean and light and nice and aerodynamic for the pull. Not actually aerodynamic, but so that our leverages aren't affected in a super negative way. So the fact that bench doesn't feel bad is almost good in and of itself. It didn't feel terrible there. We're gonna lengthen those rest times. I'm sure I talked about it in the voiceover there, but that's it, man. We are going to eat up and recover for Monday's squat and bench session, like the primary squat and bench. Starting next week, things start to get a little heavier, man. We're not pushing these fours or pushing this bench really, but just overall, the weight that starts to come in on dads and just overall, even on squat and bench, even though we're not pushing, it's nothing to shy away at. And we obviously just did a horrible job nutritionally last night. So just time to eat up, sleep well. I'll see you guys Monday for squats and bench.